Hi, hello, hi. So, it's been a while. You look great. Is that a new haircut or fragrance? It's incredible. Anyway, I'm just here to give you a bit of a life update, but also to talk about going back to school, which is something I'm doing right now, and I'm really happy about it, if you couldn't tell. So this is my second week of my first year in university. It's taken me a really long time to get here. I'm 25 now, going on 26. It's never too late to go back to university, so it's not to say that that's a particularly old age to be going to university at. It's just that I've had to wait a really long time and watch a lot of my friends graduate and get their bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and enter their PhD programs, and it's been tough to have to wait this long. Sorry if this video is a little all over the place. It's like the middle of the night. I had back-to-back classes today and I'm a little tired, but this is what you're in for. I'm gonna film during the semester, so most of my videos will probably be this with a very hoarse voice because it's hard to speak all day with EDS and very fragile vocal cords. So, why has it taken me so long to get here and be able to go to school? Well, thank you for asking me. Prior to being diagnosed with EDS, and even when I was first diagnosed with EDS, I didn't get a lot of help with my symptoms. I would just try to manage them myself without the use of mobility aids, without any of the things that I actually needed, and managing my symptoms was my full-time job. I couldn't do anything else because it was just exhausting. Ever since I started using a wheelchair, specifically like a wheelchair with motorized wheels, I cannot even begin to explain the difference it's made in my life. Just like having that and getting the help that I need. Like when I can't do something at school physically, I actually get help. The accessibility center at my school has a note taker who comes to my classes and writes notes for me. For the longest time, it was really hard for me to pay attention in class because as I'm writing notes, I actually can't. My wrist can't keep up. The ligaments in my fingers can't keep up. I end up getting hurt. So I'm dealing with subluxing every joint in my hand and wrist over and over and over again, and it becomes really hard to actually pay attention to what's happening in class and to keep up and manage that anxiety and pain. And I really underestimated how much of a difference it would make just like actually getting the accommodations that I need. I want to make this video for anyone else who might be in a similar situation to me, where they really could use the help, but they're dealing with not only the ableism of others, but their own internalized ableism. Particularly people who are ambulatory wheelchair users who have fluctuating symptoms, chronic illness, and who often are put in the position that like, just because I could do something sometimes, or just because I can do something with extreme amounts of effort and force and stress on my body and potentially hurt myself, doesn't mean that I should be doing that. For example, I was talking to someone at my school about one of the buildings that's really inaccessible that has an unreliable elevator, and we were talking about how like, oh, well, if there were a fire, what would you do? And I'm like, if there were a fire and I needed to get up or down the stairs, if I couldn't handle it, I would just scooch on the stairs on my butt like I did when I was like a toddler. But I shouldn't have to live every single day dodging the same obstacles to get to class that I would have to dodge if the building were on fire. Like you understand that, right? Like just because you can do something under extraordinary circumstances doesn't mean that you should. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a right to the assistance that you need. You shouldn't have to put yourself in a situation that feels humiliating, dehumanizing, and that potentially could injure you just to convenience others, because being disabled is apparently just a huge inconvenience to everyone else. Anyway, it's hard to break through all of that stigma, and a lot of people don't understand ambulatory wheelchair users. They think that if they see you standing there, that means you don't really need your wheelchair. But again, the reason it's taken me so long to get to this point, so long to get to actually going to university and being able to take a full course load, is because I was listening to all these voices before, and I was letting that dictate how I ran my life. And if I live my life not using mobility aid, not getting any assistance with anything at all, my full-time job, more than it already is, becomes just having EDS. That's my job. That's my education. Everything that I do is just having EDS. And don't get me wrong, it is still extraordinarily time-consuming, draining physically, emotionally, and mentally to have a chronic illness and to just deal with what it is, but just it's that much harder to have the same illness and refuse to allow yourself to accept any of the help that you need. nobody should have to live that way. I think it's important to make this video and to talk about this because I severely underestimated what kind of difference this would make in my life. I'm able to go to class and actually be present and pay attention to what's happening because I don't need to furiously not only jot down notes, but also just deal with dislocating my wrist every like second or third word. I don't have to be exhausted already just by getting to class. I get to class and be on a decent level. Like, again, imagine, okay, again, with the person who's like, but if there were a fire, what would you do? Imagine if every single day, okay, to get to class, to get in and out of the building, you need to function on the same level of urgency and physical and mental exertion as you would if the building were on fire. Imagine doing that, okay? I'm sure that you can climb up and out of a window if the building were on fire. Doesn't mean that that's the way you should exit your house every single day. Doesn't mean that you can do it without injury or without consequences. Why do you expect people with disabilities to do that? Why is it such a burden to someone else that I'm using a wheelchair, or that I have someone writing notes for me, or that I have assistants getting around the inaccessible parts of the school? Like, why does that bother anyone? I don't understand it. It's really confusing to me, to be honest. I don't understand this obsession with just interrogating disabled people as though others are entitled to our medical history. To satisfy anyone's curiosity watching this, again, as many of you know, I have EDS, and part of the complications with my disability and my life, because EDS manifests itself in a whole bunch of different ways, is that when I dislocate a joint, it cannot be put back into its place about 90% of the time. The reason being, according to my doctors, is that in order to relocate the joint, there needs to be some resistance, and that resistance comes from the ligaments and other supporting structures made of connective tissues. I have a connective tissue disorder. There's not enough resistance to ever put things exactly back where they're supposed to be when they weren't ever actually fully in their place to begin with. But because of that, despite the fact that EDS is not supposed to be a degenerative condition, it has been for me. And it gets worse and worse because every time I get really badly hurt, I get a full dislocation. It's never the same again for me. And that's just something I need to deal with. And I'm okay with it. It's part of my life. What I'm not okay with is having to explain that to people who I've met for 5 minutes, or people who knew me 5 years ago, or who've spent a handful of hours with me entirely, and who suddenly think that they know more about my life and that they're more qualified than I am, or my doctors are, to make a call about what I do and don't need. So again, this is a bit of an empowering video for me, but also just a reaffirming video for anyone watching this. If you need help and you have access to that help, and the only thing stopping you is what you're afraid other people are going to say, my best advice is just do it. Get the help, because again, I cannot stress how much of a difference it makes. Like, I even just a year ago thought there's absolutely no way that I'll ever be able to go to school full time because I take one class and it consumes my entire life. But I didn't give enough credit to how difficult it was to just get to and from class, how difficult it was to just write notes. I underestimated how much that was taking from me and how much it was contributing to my brain fog and my exhaustion. Like, yes, those symptoms still exist, but they're not exacerbated nearly as much as they were before. So yeah, just a quick video to say that, and to just say I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy to finally be in school. I'm so happy to finally be getting the help that I need, and I just can't believe what a difference this is making. I take 4 classes right now. My next semester is 5 classes, and I can't believe that I'm able to go to class and actually follow what's happening and be in a manageable amount of pain. It's incredible to me to have my life back and having control over my life and agency and being able to get places on my own a lot more easily. To force me to walk because it makes you comfortable is to force me to sacrifice my education and my potential future career. So yeah, I'm having none of that. None of it. So that's it. I hope that you have all been well and you're ready for some more strange rambly videos, because I intend to continue making videos throughout the semester. I haven't released videos for I think it's only been like 2 weeks to be honest, but anyway, I've skipped some videos because I was animating full time in the month of August and also fighting off pneumonia, because that happens for some reason very frequently. So yeah, between the like full-time animating and starting my semester, there was just like I had to manage my energy, and so I just didn't release videos for those weeks, and like everything was fine, everyone survived, it was okay, cool. It was very hard for me to like actually do that. Anyway, but despite that, during the academic year, I plan on still making videos, even if I'm just talking about things like this or talking about the things I'm learning in class. I would actually love to talk to you about the things that I'm learning in class because they're fascinating and I really like talking. So I hope you're ready to learn about art and education and psychology and childhood development and cool stuff like that. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and a great week, and you take care of yourselves. All right, thanks. Bye.